Collage animations are powerful for three reasons. They are visually striking, easy to understand, and the most important of them all, they are relatable. Because no matter which part of the world you come from, we've all tried to make collage as children. And this makes collage style videos attractive to a very wide audience. So if you're not using this super engaging style in your content, you are definitely missing out. But what really makes collage animations pop are the transitions. When done right, they can make your videos stand out in a sea full of content. Today, I'll show you 3 easy, eye-catching collage transitions. No plugins, no paid assets, just After Effects. This video is a sneak peek from my full collage animation pro tips video. Make sure to check it out from the card above. Now, let's dive in. So the first transition that I'm about to break down is at this part of the video, which is basically a paper crumple reveal of an old animation light table that is transformed into a new Wacom Cintiq. So I'm going to open up this composition and let's take a look inside. So here we have the animation, and the main components are the layer in the bottom, which is the animation light table, and the layer on top, which is the Cintiq, but also this middle kind of paper texture that I have built using this paper texture. So I've got a grainy gradient blue texture on this image, and I also have this kind of scientific paper texture that I combined to create this style. And when I look into the shape that I used, you're gonna see that it's basically just a shape that has been animated using path properties. And I also used the keyframes as hold keyframes, so it gives me that kind of handmade motion. That's how paper actually behaves when you apply pressure on it. And the way I set this up is that I start very small and then go a few frames ahead and then move it up again. And when I move it up, and this is important, I also move the part of the shape layer below as well, so that it looks like it's changing. Now, the way I achieved this transformation between the image at the top and the image at the bottom is simply by also masking the image at the bottom and animating it along with this paper reveal. So what I basically did was I didn't have to touch this layer on the top, it just stayed, but on top of the layer, I animated this page reveal effect that goes on top of it. However, while I was animating this shape layer opening up on top, I was also revealing the layer in the bottom simultaneously. And what I've done here is, if I open this layer up, you're gonna see a same mask happening. So it's invisible here. If you can just look at this yellow mask line, it's totally collapsed. And I'm gonna just solo this layer for you guys so you can see exactly what's happening here. As we move forward, I reveal this in the bottom. It's just an optical illusion, right? And that's a very big part of digital animation. There are many things that you can do to augment effects, and it all depends on how good you know your tools, how good you know the software, and there are no limits to the way these tools can be used to create all kinds of different results. The solution is so simple: no effects, no plugins, simply native masking tools that you get when you have After Effects. And masking tools are present in almost every animation software today. So you can potentially even create this effect just with a free animation software out there. The second transition is basically just this very simple tear effect. So I had the entire monitor in a separate composition. So it's this purple one that you can see. Then I just duplicated it and made a mask around it to make it cut in half, and had another part which was also cut in half, and simply used position properties like you can see here to just tear it away. I also added this kind of torn paper edges to the composition. I made 2 more duplicates of the composition. So these torn edges is actually just this composition but colored in completely white, so you can't see it because I've added a fill effect here. If I remove the fill effect here on the side, you're gonna see that it's actually just the same composition but with torn kind of cutout effect. And I achieved this rough paper tear out texture by applying the roughen edges effect from the After Effects effects library. And all I had to do was just offset the composition that I've applied these effects to, so it looks like it's overlapping each other. So a very simple solution, again, completely created inside After Effects using its native tools to come up with this transition. So here is the last transition that I wanted to show you guys, which is this one. The moment the video comes in, you're gonna see that the video crumples up into a piece of paper and then the paper just bounces off and leaves the screen. And believe it or not, this entire transition was also done completely in After Effects, and it's much easier than it looks. And let me break it down for you guys. So the way I achieved this last transition was, first I acquired a video of a paper crumpling. So if I just solo this layer, you're gonna see this crumple paper video that I'm gonna add in the asset library that you can download from the description below, of course. I added it on top of the video that I wanted to animate, and then I used the darker color blending mode to make it blend seamlessly with the video underneath. And then I also used a time remap so that I can time the paper crumple video the way I want, so that it merges with the motion of the video underneath, so that it kind of has a seamless transition with the black color. So after I did that, I used a mesh warp effect. It adds this mesh on top of whatever you added this effect to, and it creates this grid. And if you go into the grid, you can actually select every single intersection and point on this grid individually and move it. And the moment you move it, it distorts that point on the image. So as you can see, if I move this down or up, it distorts the image. And that's what essentially happens when we crumple a piece of paper. The parts inside the paper starts distorting till it becomes a crumpled ball. And here, if I zoom in, you'll be able to see that the video underneath, I'm actually warping the image frame by frame along with the speed of the paper crumpling as well, so that I go with the crumple of the paper. So it's also important to note here that to make it look realistic, at one point when it's just about to turn into a ball, you're going to have to make sure that the video you're warping is inside the outer piece of paper, so that it looks like it's inside that piece of paper and it's being crumpled inwards. And then right after that, if the speed is fast enough, you're going to be getting a seamless transition. So if I play it back, you'll be able to see that it just seamlessly crumples into a ball, and then I added just a fun position animation to the ball so that it looks like it just crumples inwards and then bounces up and then leaves the screen. So that's essentially how I created this last transition. So try these transitions yourself. If you need any more clarifications on each of these transitions, please comment below and ask me your questions. And I would love to see you guys actually recreate some of these transitions and see for yourself what the results look like. So that's it for this video. I really hope you learned something and found value. And if you did, consider subscribing to the channel. It goes a long way in supporting me in making more such videos in the future. And also share this with someone you may feel also needs to watch this. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.